Arasta of the Endless Web for 2 of anything and 2 forests. It's a 3/5 legendary enchantment creature, spider with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. This is the commander, one of the 99. Welcome to my deck. So without further ado, let's begin. The first card on this list is Strata Scythe for 3 of anything. It's an artifact with equip 3. It's got imprint. You search, whenever it enters the battlefield, search your library for a land card, exile, shuffle your library. Enchant creature gets 1/1 for each land on the battlefield, the same name as the exiled card. That way, you get the guarantee to beef up one of your spiders. We also have Heroic Intervention. Into the Wilds. For revealing the top card of your library, if it's a land card, you can put it into play. We have Worldspine Worm. We have Dead Bridge Goliath. It's an insect, 2 and 2 forests, 5/5 with scavenge, so you could beef up the spider again. We have Hornet Queen. The reason for her is that you can get multiple cards with Death Touch to block with. Forgotten Ancient is also in this deck for moving 1/1 counters. Overwhelming Stampede makes it on this list because it the card that gives all your creatures XX, where it's the greatest power among creatures you control for that game-winning attack. Witchstalker has hexproof and it's a 3/3. Whenever an opponent casts a blue spell or black spell, put a 1/1 counter on it. Great include for only 3 mana. We have Wolfbear Elemental with the multi-kicker. That way you can have multiple tokens in play. The more creatures, the better. We have Killer Bees, simply because it's flying and can deal a lot of damage as well. We have Mana Bloom. Mana Bloom is a really underrated card. You can tap X mana in the forest, enters the battlefield with X charge counters, remove a charge counter, add that mana. And if you, at the beginning of the upkeep, if you have no charge counters on it, return to its owner's hand. So that way it almost doubles your mana pool every 2 rounds, which is just enough. I also put in Ground Seal just in case they try to do Graveyard Recursion. I put Fresh Meat in this deck. Put a 3/3 green beach token into the battlefield for each creature put into your graveyard from the battlefield this turn. That way if there's a board wipe, you get a lot of more tokens again. We have Molder Slug. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact. They're not going to like that card. We have the Foil Druid's Call that you can put on a powerful creature like the Worldspine Worm, and whenever it's dealt damage against controller, it puts out any 1/1 green squirrel into play. It's also not an expensive card to purchase. We have Fido Titan. For whenever it dies, return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of next upkeep. It'll be tapped when it comes into play, but it's a good recursion card for green. We have Strength of the Tajuru for X and 2 forests with the multi-kicker 1, choose target creature, and you get to put X 1/1 counters and up to X target creatures, and it's just a good beef card. Aid from the Cowl is a card that not many people notice. It has a Revolt Enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you put it in the battlefield. Otherwise, you put it in the bottom of your library. Great card. Foster is also a great card. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 1. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal the creature card, put that card into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. That's for if you really need a powerful creature to come in. We have Primal Command, many options. It's sorcery, choose 2. Target player gains 7 life. Put target non-creature permanent top of its owner's library, or target player shuffles his or her graveyard in his or her library, or you can search for a creature card, reveal, put it into your hand. It's got many options. The more options in Commander, the better. Ravenous Slime for 2 of anything in a force is a 1/1 ooze. Can't be blocked by a creature's power 2 or less. If a creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile it. So it's a great exile card. And put a number of 1/1 counters equal to that creature's power. So if they block, he's going to get stronger. Great exile ability. We need some artifact destruction just in case. Destroy all artifacts, creep and corrosion. We have some artifacts too, but you want to be concerned about your opponent. We have the Somberwald Sage for adding 3 mana of any 1 color, which would be green. And I don't mind only casting creature spells. We have the Viper card. It whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature at the end of combat, which is basically like Death Touch. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can draw a card. So it's got the destroying and drawing factor, which we like. We got the Scoot Mob. It's a great card for only 1 mana. Hunter's Prowess is a good card for beefing up target creature, gains 3/3 and trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw that many cards. The more cards we can draw, the better. And Tuco Mentor is also good because it gives a creature XX. Nylea's Intervention is good because it's got X and 2 force. It's a sorcery. You choose one, search your library for up to X land cards, reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your library, or also it deals twice X damage to each creature with flying. Great card for options. One of the newer cards of the series, Feasting Troll King for 2 of anything and 4 force is a 7/6 creature, troll, noble. Not legendary, but it does have Vigilance Trample. Whenever it ETBs, if you cast it from your hand, create 3 food tokens. You can sack 3 foods and return the king from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only during your turn. So they would have to waste a card to destroy a food to not be able to bring him back. That's a powerful card, 7/6 Vigilance Trample. Great card. Gigapede for 3 of anything and 2 force, 6/1 insect. Can't be the target spells or abilities. Speaking of upkeep, if it's in your graveyard, you can discard a card from your hand and return it to your hand. Again, with the good recursion card being a 6/1. Kill Switch is one of the golden cards in this deck. For 3 of anything, it's an artifact. You can tap 2, tap all of their artifacts. So your opponents have equipment cards that are equipped with creatures, and basically would tap all those creatures with it. And if they had any other artifacts, you would just tap everything. Untap steps as long as Kill Switch remains tapped. So I mean, that's a very powerful card. Luckily, it's only a couple dollars online as well. Also, we have Silklash Spider, another spider to go with the commander. It may block us, so it had flying, so it has reach. And the kicker ability here for X and 2 force deals X damage to each creature with flying. So it can destroy anything that's flying without indestructibility. Great card. They never made a card like that after him. Also, Stag Beetle. I'm amazed at how cheap Stag Beetle is. Whenever it comes into play with X/1/1 counters on X's number of other creatures in play, if you're going against 5 opponents, this thing could be like a 50-50. Symbiotic Worm, also a 7/7, and whenever it's put into the graveyard from play, you put 7/1/1s into play. I used to play this card a lot whenever I was younger. The Swarm Insect is a 0/1 for only 1 force that has flying. The purpose of it is to attack with it, and then defending player can't play any spells on you. So that's good. They can't Holy Day you. Well, they'd have to do it before. Elvish Visionary. He's just ETBs, draw a card. It's just a blocker for 2 mana, essentially. Hopefully you draw it, play it, get to draw another one. Same thing with Wall of Blossoms, although that's a little bit more expensive. It is a 0/4, though. Yavimaya Elder. You have to have Yavimaya Elder in a green commander deck. That way you can sack it, draw a card, put it in the graveyard, search your library for 2 lands. Great deal. Nature Spiral for 1 of anything in force is a sorcery. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. That way, if they do spot removal of your card, you can bring it back. Ruthless Instincts for 2 of anything and a forest is an instant with 2 options. Target non-attacking creature gains reach and death touch until end of turn for 1 of your creatures, or target creature gets 2/2 and gains trample. Great offensive and defense. Revive. Also, return target green card from your graveyard to your hand. Luckily, everything in this deck is either green or an artifact. Gorgon's Head. 1 mana. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature has death touch. Good for the offensive and defensive for our 1/2 spiders with reach. The Trolls. Regenerate target green creature. This card saved me way more times than you would suspect. Fierce Empath. For 2 of anything in force is a 1/1. Whenever it ETBs, you can search your library for a creature card, convert it to cost 6 or more, reveal it, put it in your hand. Hopefully this will help you out if you're kind of dragging mid-game. Fog. Single forest. That way you can attack them and then cast it later to protect yourself. And Tuco Elder. Bit of a mana ramp. Same thing with Finhorn Elder. Also a mana ramp. Defend the Hearth. Just another way of being a fog. Fire Shrieker. That way if your creatures are powerful, they'll have death touch. They'll have a double strike, sorry. And Bone Splitter just beefs them up just a little bit more, just to get the creatures a little bit stronger than your opponents, hopefully. Crushing Vines. You get to choose destroy a creature with flying or an artifact. I love those 2 options because I feel like this is weak against flying, this deck. Destroy all enchantments. Tranquility. Everybody wants enchantments in play. Nobody expects that they'll all leave at once. Mending Touch for a single forest. Regenerate maybe your commanders, say. They wouldn't expect that, especially that it's an instant. This card here is a powerful card. I think it's legal in Commander. You can pay 2 life or a forest, put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library. I mean, that goes for your opponent and yourself. We've seen this card a lot too. Skullwinder, the snake, 1/3 Death Touch. Whenever it ETBs, turn a target card from your graveyard to your hand. Your opponent does the same as well. Luckily, this is a 1/3 with Death Touch, though. Is it worth it? Cast it from the hand and find out. Turn to dust for a single forest. Destroy target equipment. You know your opponent's going to have equipments on their creatures. Destroy the equipment like Swiftfoot Boots and whatever, and you'll be able to plow through. Plus, you get to add that 1 green back. Can't lose with that card. Reclaim. Put target card from your graveyard on top of your library. We've read that a few times in this deck. The more options for bringing stuff back from the graveyard, the better. It is more doable with black, but also with green. Centaur Glade. The reason why this enchantment is in the deck is because even if there's 2 or 3 or 4 board wipes, you'll always be able to have a creature token guaranteed to block with, or even attack with. And that could really run down a blue deck for your opponents. And then lastly, we're left with 40 forests. There's 40 forests and 60 cards. Okay guys, that's my deck on Arasta of the Endless Web. I hope you really liked it. Check out some of my other Commander videos. Be sure to give a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next video.